Hi y'all, so today I'll be annotating my TOK exhibition written commentary. You guys probably know what the TOK exhibition is already, but just to clarify, the 10 out of 10 that I got for this TOK exhibition is not the IB score or the moderated IB score. It's the score my teacher gave to me when he was checking or I guess marking my exhibition. But this exhibition is an internal thing, so even if it was moderated by the IB, I don't think the score will change that much. Probably the minimum this will get, if this currently gets a 10 out of 10, the minimum I would get is probably an 8 out of 10. So this is an example of like an exhibition that would get an A for TOK. So let's dive in. So as you can see here, the prompt I chose was what challenges are raised by the dissemination and/or communication of knowledge. And before we start annotating, let us just do a quick review of what the mark scheme or like the main mark points are. Okay, I'll have 3 main mark points. Okay, so based on the mark scheme, the first mark point is the object context and the link, so how the object links to the prompt. The second one is how you justify why your object was chosen, and well-supported arguments. So you have to support your arguments with like examples or like just any discussion. And the third one is actually from me. So this one is focus and coherence. While it is not in the mark scheme, I personally believe that if your essay has focus and has good coherence, it will get a good mark. So this one is from mark scheme, and this one is from me. Oh, also, as with all IB classwork or anything or essay, please remember to cite. Citing is the most important because if you don't, you will get a plagiarism hit and you will lose your IB diploma. Okay, so moving back to our essay. So in my introduction, I actually first identified my theme. So if you don't know yet, there is like 5 main themes in the TOK curriculum. And the one I chose was knowledge and language. So the other 4 you can see is knowledge and technology, knowledge and indigenous societies, knowledge and religion, and knowledge and politics. Okay, so the reason why I chose a theme is because I want this to maintain focus. So it's to maintain focus. Because if I focus on a theme, I will know on what objects I should choose because the objects I choose should be related to the theme and to the prompt. And for me, to help me maintain focus again, I actually said that use 3 different objects that represents 3 different form of language. So yes. Then in my third sentence, I actually give like a short introduction, which is this one. And then in my next sentence, I define miscommunication. So I wrote that miscommunication occurs when blah blah blah. And why I do this, as you can see in the next paragraph, is that because I will focus on the causes and effects of miscommunication. So my whole introduction is basically not only trying to introduce my object slowly, but it's also in a way guiding me to maintain focus. And as you can see in here, like in a lot of prompts, there would be like a few keywords, and for mine, the keyword I wanted to focus was communication. And so I defined miscommunication because that's the part of communication. That's like the challenge. Because in my prompt, it's asking for challenge, right? And in my exhibition, the challenge I wanted to establish or I wanted to discuss further is miscommunication. So don't forget to define keywords. Okay, then in my last sentence of my introduction, I basically just summarized my whole exhibition. So moving on to my first object, and as you can see here, it's a picture I took in a buffet restaurant during my family trip to China. And in here, as you can see in here, I actually did, this one is called, wait, let's move back to here. Remember one of our mark points is object context. So I had to explain the object context, which I did in my first few translations. Without this, the reader won't know why this object is special or why this object is worth discussing. So that's right here, context. Then I basically just also included some elements of personal engagement because I said it was like during my family trip to China, and I am a person who understands both English and Mandarin. So personal engagement is not necessary, or not all of your objects needs to be personal to you, but if it is, I believe that it would be better. And this with this, I've also justified, so justification, why I chose this object. So that's two of some of the most important things that you have to include. You have to include your object's context and your object's justification. So in my next paragraph, I basically just did more discussion and give more examples. So the example I gave was another one, 安静, and I also did the LOL, which may stand for lots of love or laugh out loud. And I also added more, slightly more discussion in here. So in here is also discussion. And after all of my discussion as to how this links, so discussion should show how it links to the prompt. And in my last paragraph, I restated my justification for the inclusion of this object. So justification. And that was it. That was my first object. Okay, so now moving on to my second object. So my second object is a Buddha statue, and I explained how the Buddha statue is holding a hand gesture that has meaning in the Buddhism community. And in here, as you can see again, I've added the context of the object as well as some explanation. So actually this whole thing is just the context. And as you can see in here, I also added some elements of personal engagement. So I said, Buddhist like me. Again, as what I said, it's not necessary, but it's good to have objects that are more personal to you. And so in the next paragraph, I basically stated how this hand gesture has like different meanings in different cultures or different societies or in different contexts. So I guess this serves as, in a way, the discussion. And in my second one, I did another example. So another example where I said that this hand gesture was added to the hate speech database. And this serves as more discussion, basically. And as you can see in here, not only do I try to link my object to my main prompt, which is which I want to discuss about miscommunication, but I also made sure to give justifications to to give support to my argument. So my argument is how difficult it is for a third party to dictate what a gesture signifies due to context. So this is what you should try to do. You should try to not only link but also support your argument. And in here my argument is this one. And for the last paragraph for my object 2, I basically just did a summary. And in my summary, I actually also linked my summary to object 1. So again, this is not necessary, but in my opinion, this helps build coherence. This helps makes it feel such that your objects are supporting each other rather than just individual objects that you try to use in your exhibition. Oh, also, before I forgot to state this, don't forget to cite. Make sure you add your citations. You can do different citations, is up to you and up to your teacher. Whichever one your teacher suggests, that's which one you should do. But for me, I prefer doing footnotes because I feel that if I use footnotes and I just use like numbers like on top like that, it it makes it less messy. But you can also do the one with brackets. The one with brackets is, yeah, APA, sorry. Finally, here is my third and last object. So the third and last object I chose is an artwork titled Black Iris. And in here, I basically just... You guys are probably already very familiar with my structure by now. So in here, I added the context of the object I introduced and added the object's context. And in a way, sometimes stating the object's context is actually justifying why you chose the object too. Because in mine, while I explain the context, I am also explaining how the object causes miscommunication. And just like the previous ones, I added more discussion. And in this one of my main argument for the third one was actually subtext. And in here, I just made my argument and I just supported it with a lot of examples and also well supported. In a way, supporting also helps you link it. So I try to link how miscommunication can, how subtext can actually lead to miscommunication and misunderstandings. And finally, my summary. So this summary is actually not a summary of the third object. So in a way, it's separated from the third object. In my conclusion or summary, I just concluded my whole essay. Now that I'm done annotating my TOK exhibition written commentary, I'll just like to list out like a structure that I followed. You guys already probably know the structure by now if you followed my whole video, but if you didn't, here's like a summary for you. So the first thing that we have is the introduction. In the introduction, you will state your theme to help you stay focused, and you'll also state your main idea or how you'll approach the theme and prompt. In my case, I focused on miscommunication. And you also explain the keywords in the prompt. And this keyword does not necessarily mean giving a definition. It can just mean giving your own definition. So for example, knowledge. Knowledge has a lot of definition and there's no right or wrong definition. But you can define knowledge, and that definition of knowledge is the knowledge that you will use in your essay. I hope you understand what I mean. It's a bit vague, but that's what I mean. And in the introduction, in your last sentence, I also suggest you to, in a way, summarize what your exhibition is about, or just your main idea. Next one, in the body. So the body is just each object, the object 1, object 2, object 3. So first, you have to state what the object is and its context. You can also justify why you chose that object. So this would help you immediately gain good marks in the mark scheme. If possible, those objects should have personal significance to you. And then after that, you just give further discussion, like giving your arguments, putting in some ideas or giving in more other related examples. And lastly, when you are choosing your objects, make sure that your objects have different points. So make sure that when you're choosing your objects, try write 1 or 2 sentence arguments or ideas that you're trying to express using each object. Lastly, we have the conclusion. So in the conclusion, you just restate briefly the main points of your object in relation to the prompt, so how it answers your prompt. And since, as what I told you before, your 3 objects have to have like 1 or 2 main points or main sentences, all you have to do is just put them all in a paragraph and you're done. So yeah, that was it from me for my TOK exhibition. If you do have any questions or any comments, you can always put them in the comment section down below, and see you in my next video. And I hope this video is helpful for you. So bye!